My name's Jeff Lyden. I'm the Clay County Sheriff, and I wanted to kind of get some of the investigative team here together. So I do generalities on my updates, and so I really can't get into specifics. And one of the reasons is because I don't know what they're doing, and I don't want to mess up their investigation. So if I talk to who we got here, this is our lead investigator, Kenny Nash. Kenny Nash is a 30-year officer with both the military and the Austin Police Department. Spent more than the last decade being a detective for Austin PD. See, Kirk Horton is our constable, and he's been instrumental in helping a lot of the things that they do and don't do and tracking down leads for us. Man in the middle there is Chief Hamilton, and he's kind of caught in the middle between the detectives and the investigators who actually are out there hands-on and the administration. So a lot of times he goes unnoticed, but let me tell you something, and he's not a hey look at me kind of guy. So because of that, I have to talk about it. Rodney Hamilton has been a police officer for the better part of the last 3 decades. He's done everything from routine patrol to patrol supervision. He's been on the street and street crime units. He's a certified canine officer. He did about 4 years worth of undercover narcotics, and he also worked homicide as a homicide detective for Odessa PD. It's very difficult for other people to actually call themselves police officers when he walks in the room, and he's a great asset. All 3 of these men are great assets for us, and rather than me stand up here and fill up the rest of the time with a bunch of fluff, I want to turn this over to our Chief Deputy, Rodney Hamilton, and let him start telling you how this investigation is going. Rod?
Thank you, Sheriff. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you for being here. I'm going to go over who has assisted us in this investigation. If I miss anybody, I deeply apologize. We have been working on little or no sleep, and the amount of help and calls we ever received from everybody has been overwhelming. I want to thank all the media outlets that assisted us in getting all the suspect information out as quick as y'all did to help us in this investigation. We always want a good working relationship with the media because y'all are a huge asset for us, especially with us being a small department. It is difficult when any department has one of their deputies shot. And it is even more difficult when that happens to a department our size. We, of course, don't have the assets that these larger departments have and the personnel that these larger departments have. So it's pretty difficult on us. And if we did not get the assistance that we got, it would definitely make this investigation even a bigger task. We were overwhelmed from hundreds of calls from departments all over Texas, Oklahoma, and even other areas of the nation offering their support and assistance in catching the subject or subjects who shot Deputy Chitwood. I can tell you that without the help, it would have been overwhelming for us. We would like to express our deepest gratitude to everyone that offered their assistance and every person or agency that assisted us. Wichita Falls Police Department and their crime scene unit was amazing. They provided our department with everything that we asked for and helped process the scene where the suspect vehicle was found in Wichita Falls. It actually started raining on everybody over there. They worked through the rain and did a tremendous job for us. Wichita Falls Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Duke and Chief Deputy Rutledge provided us deputies and everything they could to assist investigating and called every day to ask if there's anything that we needed that they could help us with. Chief Rutledge was actually the first officer on scene to assist Deputy Chitwood. Sheriff Duke and his staff have always provided our Sheriff's Office with assistance anytime that we asked for it, and we're so grateful for their help. Chief Alexander Jones with the Arlington Police Department, along with their Detective Division, their SWAT team and Patrol Division, were so gracious in helping us yesterday in Arlington. Their department assisted us all day long, helped through every step, and provided us with everything that we asked for or needed. Lieutenant Paul Lawson with the Texas Attorney General's Office Fugitive Apprehension Office was a great help and spent long hours helping us trying to locate our suspect. U.S. Marshals Task Force in Arlington, ATF K-9 Unit, Texas Ranger Travis Dindy provided us assistance in Arlington yesterday. A big special thank you to Chris Hamilton from the 97th District Attorney's Office and Texas Ranger Matt Kelly. They have been side by side with us through this entire investigation. Their experience and professionalism was a huge asset during this investigation. Constable Kirk Horton with Clay County provided us his assistance and his experience through this tragedy as soon as it occurred. Our staff at the Clay County Sheriff's Office, we're working very short-handed right now, and our deputies, detention officers, and dispatchers have given up their days off to continue to provide our community with 24-hour coverage. A huge thank you to the citizens of Clay County. The outpouring of support they have given us through this difficult time was amazing. The phone calls giving us their support and all of their prayers for Deputy Chitwood have been overwhelming. I'm now going to pass the podium to Sergeant Nash. Himself, Chris Hamilton, Ranger Kelly have done a fantastic job on this investigation. There is still a lot of work that needs to be done, but I'll definitely pass the podium to him.
Thank you all for coming. As Chief said, I mean, he mentioned everyone that assisted us. I don't want to repeat that, but definitely want to reiterate that they were amazing. We could not have done this without them. I would like to reiterate the gratitude that I have for all the agencies that assisted and still are assisting in this investigation. This would not be possible, as I mentioned, without their assistance and resources. Resources mainly is a huge deal. This county does not have the resources that the federal agencies and entities and the DPS has. Everyone was crucial in this, but I'd like to specifically point out a few. Lieutenant Paul Boston with the Texas Attorney General's Office, Fugitive Apprehension Unit, along with his team, spent numerous hours following up on leads and relaying those leads to me. Texas Ranger Matt Kelly and Investigator Chris Hamilton with the 97th Judicial District DA's Office were absolutely vital to this investigation. Those two always spend like moments notice they respond to us. They're always here for us, and they drop everything. They're here with us side by side throughout everything. We always have a great working relationship. I am beyond thankful for their dedication to this area of Clay County. Basically, here's a summary of where we are as of this moment on this case. Please keep in mind this is ongoing. It's going to be very brief. In no way will I jeopardize the prosecution or the details of this case in order to do that. On Monday, August 16th, 2021, at approximately 7:37 p.m., Deputy Chitwood executed a traffic stop on Highway 287, northbound just south of Jolly, Texas, on a white Cadillac that was speeding. The license plate on this vehicle did not match what was appearing on the vehicle registration. Upon Deputy Chitwood's approach of the vehicle, he was immediately shot by the driver of that Cadillac. Deputy Chitwood was able to return fire, striking that suspect vehicle. The suspect vehicle then fled the scene, and Chitwood sought medical attention for the gunshot. The suspect vehicle was then recovered in Wichita Falls, Texas, on August 17, 2021. That vehicle was observed with bullet holes, and then through various leads and evidence, it was discovered that the driver of that suspect vehicle was identified as Joshua Lee Green, excuse me, white male, 9'10" of 89. The arrest warrant was then issued on Green for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon on a peace officer with a bond set of $750,000. Further leads led myself, Chris Hamilton, Ranger Kelly, and Investigator Hamilton to Arlington, Texas on August the 18th. That's where it was believed Green was staying at the time. With the assistance of the Arlington PD, the Robbery Detective Unit, and our Arlington PD SWAT team, we arrested Green on that warrant. He was then arraigned on the evening of August 18th, which was last night, and then transported back to Clay County Jail at a later time. He will be transported back. As I mentioned before, we still have a long ways to go in this investigation, but due to the diligent efforts of everyone mentioned, we were able to remove this dangerous criminal off of the streets, and more importantly, place a suspect in custody in less than 48 hours that had shot one of our deputies. There are lots of leads to still follow up on, lots of investigative tools that we're still using, and waiting on some of the evidence to come back on that, so I can't go into details on how we identified the suspect, exactly what led us to that, because that is a vital part of this investigation. Are there any questions at this time?
Do we know why you shot the deputy?
No, not at this moment, sir, we do not.
Did you say he's still in Arlington?
He is in Arlington City Jail right now, and he will be transported here at a later time. He was arraigned last night, though.
I don't know if you can answer this like you just said, but do you have any idea how he got back down to Arlington after that problem?
I cannot answer that at this time. Thank you.
Do you know what caliber was used to shoot the?
I can't answer that specific question at this time, no, sir.
Did you recover a gun from him?
I cannot answer that question at this time. And again, I apologize. I mean, just please understand that, I mean, I will do nothing to jeopardize the prosecution of this case. I mean, it is a high priority case. It's a high profile case, as it should be. And there's very specific details that I cannot release at this time.
He had previous minor run-ins with the law leading up to this, but nothing of this caliber, correct?
His criminal history revealed several felony convictions. Not many violent crimes, but several felony convictions, yes. Any other questions?
Anything else you can tell us?
I'd just like to reiterate the due diligence that everyone participated. And as Chief spoke of, I mean, I was getting personal calls too from people I did not know, federal entities, reaching out to help us. They jumped on this quick. They helped us, identify the person quickly. And once we were able to get to Arlington, we just had abundance of help and resources available to us.
So what comes next?
The investigation will continue. We'll continue, processing the evidence that we have collected up to this point. And when we get new leads off of that, the results of that evidence, then we will pursue those leads as well and determine if there's anyone else involved in this.
Do we have a timeline on that or anything like that?
Kind of at the beck and call on some of that stuff from the different laboratories that process the evidence. I can't give you a timeline because if that timeline's not met, it makes us look like we're not following up properly, and that will not be the case.
And Deputy Chitwood is okay?
Deputy Chitwood is okay. The ballistic vest that he was wearing that was issued by Clay County Sheriff's Office was able to stop that round. There was no penetration. It's a traumatic, it's a traumatic incident. It was a critical incident. So he's got some time to recover from that for sure.
Well, Sheriff Lloyd was talking about some jacket shrapnel came from the microphone that you cleared. What's that?
Basically, our best carriers that we have has two, looks like uniform pockets on the outside. He has his mic clipped right here. And basically the round hit his shirt and then hit the vest.
So the round hit the mic,
Yes, sir.
and then hit the vest.
Yes, sir.
The shrapnel from the mic.
Yeah, the microphone being destroyed, yeah, suspended. And
Oh,
then, yeah, he
so
came
it
up
was-
and there.
Okay.
The other information, this is definitely known, we can give out, is when we did locate the suspect yesterday in Arlington, there was a foot pursuit that ensued on that. Everybody involved, we went across about 6 lanes of Interstate 20, carrying heavy traffic, chasing a suspect, and it was an Arlington SWAT officer who caught up to him first. We had no resistance from the suspect. Everything went good, and nobody was injured.
Besides the mic.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you'd like to answer this.
Okay.
But was anything found or recovered in the hotel that you were staying at?
I cannot answer that question at this moment. Any other questions? And again, I know it's brief and it's not real detailed, but as we can and as I can, as I'm allowed to without jeopardizing this investigation, I will update this, when possible. So as we get things and it's not, in danger of jeopardizing the prosecution or the investigation, then I'll release some further details when I can. All I can say is, less than 48 hours we had the guy off the street. So we were able to get quite a bit on him in a very short amount of time, and we're still working. It's not going to be a short-term investigation, so just be patient, please. Understand that we are working still around the clock, and as we can, we will release further details.
And we definitely want to thank all of y'all. I know when this happened, y'all were getting everything out for us as far as suspect vehicle information. We're deeply grateful for that. Like I said, with us being a small agency, we don't have the manpower to do what other agencies do. And thank y'all for what y'all do for us and getting that information out.
And the blue alert, when that blue alert went out, media stations and outlets were jumping on that, and we were getting leads. Not every tip and not every lead leads to the right person, but it was definitely, all those leads you have to follow up on and be very, very diligent with it and be proactive with it, and those came from the media outlets. So it was amazing.
Once the incident happened, how long did it take for y'all to kind of narrow down search for a specific suspect. But you had the car, you found the car the next morning, and had the license plate. Oh, by the way, was the car ever reported stolen or?
No, sir, it was not reported stolen.
Not reported stolen. Some of the license plates, were those stolen?
They were not stolen. They did not belong to that vehicle.
So about how long, do you remember how long it took before you got
Before we developed the suspect,
Yeah.
it was less than 48 hours.
What made this investigation extremely difficult for us was, on a normal traffic stop, you go up, you're doing your violator code, start talking to the suspect. We get a DL, we have that information. You have the 28 of a car. If it's the license plate of a car, we can run that, get that information. Where this one was so much more difficult for everybody involved was the license plate to the car was not correct. And Deputy Chitwood didn't even have the opportunity to get any information from the driver
Yeah.
due to the fact that as soon as he got to the window, he was shot and the car took off.
Yeah.
So from the time the car was located in Wichita Falls, for us to have basically at that point nothing to go off of, these guys did a fantastic job in the amount of time it took them to get the information they needed to lead them to a suspect.
But, the traffic stop was being videoed?
Yes, sir.
From the,
In-car video, yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm telling you,
So right away, you knew the license plate and everything.
We do have a license plate. It was not the one that belonged to that car.
Exactly.
yeah.
You knew what license plate on there, not the right ones?
Yes, sir.
Right. And I can tell you that the windows on the suspect vehicle were tinted extremely dark.
Are y'all looking at changing any kind of protocols because of this incident?
That would be a question I'd direct to the sheriff. I'm not sure exactly what protocols you're referring to.
Approaching vehicles.
Deputy Chitwood did a phenomenal job in the way he approached that. Just in order to be able to return fire the way he did on that after being struck, where he was struck with a round, point blank range, he did the best that he could do. It was done safely. I can't critique what he did on that, or I can't recommend, or that'd be sheriff's recommendation actually. But I don't think he did anything wrong. I think it was just a critical incident. It was a traumatic one, and that guy was motivated to do what he did, regardless of what Deputy Chitwood.
And I think that's what citizens don't quite understand. Traffic stops are one of the most dangerous things that we do, and they're conducted all day long all over the country. There is no perfect way to approach a vehicle to where the suspect can't shoot you. It's impossible. Unless we sat in our units and told every driver get out of their car with their hands up, back up to my location, which if we did that, needless to say, there would be thousands of complaints. Other than that, there's no perfect way that any officer can approach a vehicle in a way where they're not going to get shot at some point if the suspect wants to shoot.
He was motivated.
Very.
Will that dash cam footage be released at any point?
Not anytime soon. No, not anytime soon.
You good, Ken?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.
Thanks a lot, Phil.
So truly, thanks for showing up. I tell you what I will do to kind of end some of the suspense on when you get it. We do a Monday morning or Monday video, every video where we gather up information and give it to the people of Clay County to tell them how we're spending their tax money every week, and that'll be every Monday. You will get an update, and if anything breaks from that, you'll get an update there as well. Okay? As soon as they let me, I tell people all the time, just because I run the place doesn't mean I'm in charge, and in this I'm really not. So as soon as they tell me that I can release the information, I will release it as we can. But for sure, next Monday we'll get an update. Y'all have any more questions for my guys or me or anybody? All right, well, thanks for coming out.
Thank you, everybody. Y'all be safe.